The independence of the Enforcement Directorate.
The Directorate of Enforcement is a law enforcement agency and economic intelligence agency responsible for enforcing economic laws and fighting economic crimes in India. It was established in May 1956 with the formation of Enforcement Unit under the protection of Department of Economic Affairs and handles exchange control laws violation under Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1947. A year later, the Enforcement Unit was renamed to Enforcement Directorate. In 1916, the administrative power were transferred from Department of Economic Affairs to the Department of Revenue. From 1973 to 1977, ED remained under the administrative jurisdiction of Department of Personnel and Administrative Reforms. FERA 1947 was repealed and replaced by FERA 1973. However, FERA 1973 was repealed and Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999, that is FEMA, came into an effect. In line with international anti-money laundering regime, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 (PMLA) was enacted.
Laws governed by the ED. The Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 (PMLA). It is a criminal law enacted to prevent money laundering and to provide for confiscation of property derived by or involved in money laundering in any way. The ED is responsible to enforce the provisions of PMLA by investigating and tracing the assets involved in the crime, confiscating it, and prosecuting the offenders of the law. The Foreign Exchange Management Act 1999 (FEMA). This is a civil law enacted to consolidate and amend the laws relating to facilitate external trade and payments, as well as to promote the orderly development and maintenance of the foreign exchange market of India. The ED is responsible to look into and investigate any suspected offence of the Act, adjudicate and impose penalties on the offenders. The Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018 (FEOA). This act prevents the economic offenders remaining outside the jurisdiction of the Indian courts from evading the Indian law. The job of the ED is to mandatorily attach the properties of the fugitives who have escaped from India warranting arrest and hand it over to the central government. The Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973 (FERA) is meant to adjudicate show cause notices which were issued in the name of this act for its contraventions, which may lead to imposition of penalties on the offenders. It was later repealed in the year 1998 and was replaced by FEMA. Conservation of Foreign Exchange and Prevention of Smuggling Activities Act 1974 (COFEPOSA). This is an act which provides for preventive detention, that is, confinement of the offenders of FEMA, thereby conserving the foreign exchange market and preventing smuggling. The ED is empowered to sponsor cases of preventive detention with regard to contraventions of FEMA. Facts to keep in mind about ED. The ED, as already mentioned, is a government body and not an individual body, and decisions might have been made under pressure from the ruling party. The cases and allegations against the ED rose up to 75% in the past 8 months when compared to the time the ED operated from 2002 to 2017. The allegations included the ruling party using this body as a vendetta tool against other oppositions. The Supreme Court on 27 July 2022, in favor of the ED, said that stringent conditions for bail under the Act are legal and not arbitrary, and it's enough if ED discloses grounds during the time of the arrest, making the body much more powerful and easy to misuse by the ruling party. Unlike CBI or state police forces, the ED does not have its own locker. The Supreme Court has also said that it is not mandatory for ED officers to disclose the grounds of arrest at the time of detaining an accused in a money laundering case.
On 3rd September 2019, the ED arrested Congress leader and former Karnataka Minister D.K. Shivkumar after questioning him for 2 days for charges of the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. In connection with a charge sheet that was filed by the Income Tax Department last year, over tax evasion and recovery of unaccounted wealth from his residence in Delhi. The Income Tax Department had conducted raids in 2017 at Eagleton Gulf Resorts on the outskirts of Bangalore, where he had hosted a group of Congress MLAs from Gujarat to secure them from any poaching attempts during the Rajya Sabha polls, in which late Congress leader Ahmed Patel was a candidate. While opposing Shivkumar's bail in 2019, the ED had alleged that he needed to be quizzed relating to properties worth over 800 crores and 317 bank accounts in 20 countries. The agency alleged that tainted money was transferred in his bank accounts. He was granted bail on October 23rd that year. In 2020, the CBI went on to register a FIR in the case in which it alleged that Shivkumar's family had gained assets worth rupees 73 crores between 2013 and 2018. However, a special court in Bangalore discharged Shivkumar in three tax evasion complaints filed by the Income Tax Department. Moreover, in 2021, the Karnataka High Court upheld the special court's decision. Sanjay Raut's friend and prime accused Pravin Raut generated 112 crore in the entire scam, out of which rupees 1.06 crore was diverted to the Sena leader Sanjay Raut and his wife through different methods. In 2009, 2 years after the conspiracy was hatched, Pravin Raut transferred rupees 55 lakh from his account to Varsha's. This amount was used to buy a flat in Mumbai. Later in 2011, Pravin's firm, Prathamesh Developer, received an investment of 29 lakh from Sanjay and his wife. Within a month, Rauts were returned their investment along with an additional profit of rupees 37 lakhs. This money was also used to buy a flat in Garden Court. Raut's wife Varsha had received rupees 13 lakhs for investment of rupees 5,600 in Avani infrastructure, the ED had alleged. The case is still ongoing.
Mukul Roy, once Mamta's go-to man, and Himanta Biswa Sarma, the Assam Deputy Chief Minister, were both among the accused and had been questioned in the connection with the Sharda Chit Fund scam prior to their joining the Bharatiya Janata Party. Roy, one of the founding members of the Trinamool Congress, was interrogated by the CBI for 8 hours in 2015 in connection with the Ponzi scam. However, Roy has maintained that he was quizzed as a witness and not as an accused in the Ponzi scam. It is quite another matter with Sarma, whose name has been cropping up in the scam ever since the CBI raided his residence and offices in August 2014. He allegedly received 20 lakh per month from the Sarada chief Sudeepta Sen to help the group run their business in Assam. Then came Sarma's entry into the BJP and his rise as the deputy CM. The heat on him had died down. The Enforcement Directorate has been at the helm of some of the most publicized investigations in recent years, as it is mandated with the investigations of economic crimes and violations of foreign exchange laws. Its hierarchy, place in the government, and scope of work has evolved and expanded over the years. The year 2019 was the most stellar year for the Enforcement Directorate. The agency secured 11 convictions in 8 months. But the allegations against Enforcement Directorate was that it had replaced CBI or Income Tax Department as state's sword arm. It has also been alleged that ED goes soft on ruling party's leaders or those who switch to the ruling party. While the ruling party's government maintains these are genuine investigations, the opposition has long claimed that these cases are government's witch hunts of opposition leaders for political benefits. The opposition's claims against the ED makes the body question both the ruling parties and its own powers. These assertions undermine the power of the ED. The ED, being run by the government, might have faced exertion by the members of the ruling party and hence being forced into supporting them. The ED's powers being undermined and sometimes misused are qualified reasons to make the ED an independent body.